attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
I am a shadow, something you hate about yourself, all your darkest thoughts, given life. Isn't it fun? Just to simply not care anymore, to stop trying to protect people, to just say fuck it, and let the demons step out to play. Come on, Midoriya, I'm you, and you're me. I know how good it feels just to let go of everything, to simply let the demons out to play. Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. Now, yes, I'm aware this is probably going to be quite surprising to a lot of you. And, yes, for some reason I am doing a part 1 to this series. It's actually been on my mind a lot today. And I'm just saying, hey, if people want me to do this series a lot, then I'm going to do it when it's on my mind. Anyways, now, let us begin. Our story starts with Izuku Midoriya. In this timeline a part of events, his father took a chance. His father started his own company. He was very intelligent and a smart man. He had several degrees and doctorates. In fact, whenever he started the company, he ended up creating technologies that would either make or break technological developments. And after working on a project with David Shields and roughly about 50 different people around the world, he created technology that revolutionized everything. In fact, it sort of racked him up over $1.2 billion within a first day, or roughly about 2 to 3 weeks. His father did not really keep count, and it was almost something that made Midoriya's family break up. After time, Midoriya was eventually born. Hisashi didn't have to worry about it anymore. His money troubles were all over, all he has to really do is manage a few things. Even then, he does have a committee and shareholders. People who bought stock for the company, that roughly equals out to about a 60-40% ratio, meaning that his dad has majority control over it. And a lot of the decisions have to be made with him there. Now, with that being said, Midoriya is born into this life, and it is quite simple. His family does have a very, very large place towards the edge of town, and it's actually quite lonely, you could say. Growing up, Midoriya, he found out that things weren't easy. You can have money, you can have power, you can be a king, or you can simply be someone on the streets. But you can't have everything you want. And Midoriya found that out the day he was diagnosed quirkless. And well, it was not fun. Midoriya was kind of shocked. His dad has a super intelligence quirk, and his mother, well, she has telekinesis. It wasn't very easy to understand this. And Midoriya did feel heartbroken, but his dad reassured him. Midoriya does not need a quirk to be somebody. to be successful. Simply telling his son that if he really needed a quirk, then he can quite simply help him, make him strong, make him tough. And he began to enlist Midoriya into specialized classes. Midoriya began to train a bit, and began to work out with, well, some people. They began to teach him things, teach him book smarts and, well, physical smarts. Midoriya wanted to be a hero, and Asashi was going to allow that to happen. Midoriya is being trained in and taught by world-class teachers. If it was a teacher from Harvard, Hasashi would not only fly them out here to the estate, but get them a private jet and a place to stay, to teach his son everything that he needs to know. And it was actually working out quite well. Midoriya wanted to be a hero, so he's going to have to learn self-defense. Midoriya, at the age of 6, began to learn a few disciplines and a few martial arts, mainly focusing on one, until his dad did have a bit of an idea. Midoriya, he was going to take a bit of a break. He's been having a stressful time at work recently, and, well, Inko's been trying to handle other things with the company. Then there's Hasashi himself, and his son. He hasn't really been there a lot recently. His son's literally been hanging out with and being taught by the smartest and strongest people in the world. In fact, he even got Midoriya to meet All Might, his hero. All Might, well, he was happy to meet the boy and actually speak with him, trying to give him a few encouraging words. And All Might did want to speak with Mr. Midoriya, trying to talk with him about something, wanting to know if a certain project would be possible. Now, All Might wanted to talk with Hasashi about possibly healing his injuries, and trying to get himself into proper shape and condition, explaining to him about his whole condition. Hasashi knew that if All Might was to ever retire, or even give up, become a hero who didn't smile anymore, then that might break his son. In fact, he knew that the day that All Might retires would be a day Midoriya would possibly, well, give up. The symbol of peace either stops smiling or he quits his job. Yeah, that is something he does not want to see. And he begins to get to work on a project, enlisting David Shield's help and quite a lot of other people. In fact, he also does hire a lot of doctors to try and take a look at All Might, and heroes with certain quirks, certain things to them that might help him, and maybe heal him. Anything that could work, he is looking into. All avenues. Now, there is also something going on. Well, Hasashi is looking into this and enlisting many different heroes. He's also going a bit behind everyone's back, and trying to use his money and connections to look deeper, actually delving into the underworld a little bit, and trying to find anything. And this is whenever All For One does catch wind of the project. A project for regeneration. Something that he could be, well, in need of. And hearing that it's going to be for All Might, yeah, that sort of gets him annoyed. Hearing that All Might is weakened and actually very, well, damaged, does actually surprise him a little bit. The hero is weak. then again so is he. And he cannot allow this project to happen. As he begins to study the Midoriya family routine. Once a month, roughly, or let's say once a week actually, they do go out, and they have a family day. This family day consists of quite a lot of things. They either go out to a carnival, go out to a place to eat, a place to stay. They've gone camping, and they've even simply gone to a theater. They do anything really Midoriya wants to do. And today there is a new movie coming out. A movie about All Might. And well, he wants to see it. And it is news since Hasashi literally bought a lot of merchandise. All Might gear and stuff for the movie, even the props from it. Just so his son can have it. And Midoriya was very excited and happy, forgetting that he is quirkless, and simply trying to enjoy the night. As after the premiere, Midoriya, he's having a lot of fun. And he's basically running out of the theater with an All Might action figure in hand, a shirt on, and even a pair of glasses that you can see through the frames because they're clear, but they do have All Might's signature, well, hair things. And Midoriya, he's having the best day ever. And a limousine does pull up. That being whenever Hasashi, Inko, and Midoriya do get inside. And they begin their long trip home. Now, this is whenever Kurogiri intervenes. He does one simple thing. Whenever the car is at a stoplight, he opens a portal underneath it, and quite simply cuts the brakes. He knows that at the next turn, they're going to be hopping onto the highway, and it's going to be quite simple. As soon as he does cut the brakes, he cuts through the cord halfway, right before the car takes off again, and it goes down the street. It is tough for the car to slow down, but it does manage, taking the turn a bit hard. And this is whenever things do go a bit weird in the back. The limousine suddenly just shifts a lot to the left, and the driver does try and maintain control of the vehicle. Kurogiri, quite simply, opening a portal directly into, well, the driver's seats. You cannot see because of the tinted windows, but there is clearly something going on up front. This being whenever Kurogiri, quite simply, grabs the steering wheel. He's looking directly at the driver, and he suddenly just turns it all the way to the right. This being where the limousine, it goes over the center divider and into oncoming traffic. Kurogiri just slamming his hand directly down onto the man's right leg, basically making him stomp on the accelerator, as he does turn around and look to see what's going on. Watching as, well, this is what's happening. The car begins to accelerate at a very high speed, and Kurogiri looks for cars. Whenever he does see a ginormous truck, he aims for it. And he simply begins to disappear. The driver trying to slam on the brakes and swerve, spinning the limousine to the right. As soon as it begins to spin, the truck, it being an 18-wheeler, smashes into the car and breaks it in half. Now, with that being said, you do have one thing that happened. Midoriya, he got sent flying from the vehicle. Since, well, he was too excited to stay sitting down, and he wanted to recreate a scene he saw from the movie. However, whenever all this began to happen, he couldn't stay still enough in his seat. His dad tried to grab him and hold on to him, but it did not work. Midoriya, yeah, He's currently laid out on the highway, and he's bleeding very badly. This being where he does actually begin to see something. He, through his vision, and, well, red in his eyes, begins to see a man walking on the street in front of him. The man does look, well, different. He has glowing eyes, and is dressed a certain way. Watching as he walks over to where the car is. And his dad does try and yell at the man. Yelling for help before the man, quite simply, well, he does his thing. And he opens portals. This being where there's a loud scream, and a certain sound. Midoriya hearing these screams and these sounds, as he does eventually wake up in the hospital, after he passed out. Finding out exactly what happened. There was an accident and they believe it was caused by a villain. And well, his parents are dead. This being something that breaks Midoriya to hear. Along with actually hearing that apparently he's lost the use of one of his legs. It is very weak and, well, they were almost unable to save it. It got mangled by a piece of shrapnel. They were able to remove a lot of pieces to it, but he is going to have to be careful on it. And Midoriya does actually listen to the doctor, being taken home in a wheelchair. And well, his butler, let's just call him Alfred for the sake of it, because honestly you don't fuck with Alfred, like legit in DC. You do not mess with that man. He's beat the shit out of Superman and is a badass. Like, that's just my personal opinion on him. That guy is one of my favorite characters who is not a superhero. Honestly. Anyways, now. Midoriya does go home. And he does hear about what happened to his parents. While he is in his wheelchair, Alfred does begin to try and, well, comfort the boy. Simply just telling him that it will be alright. And that he will be here to take care of him. He is not going anywhere. That the boy is going to simply be staying with him for a while. Until, well, things turn out alright. He will be his caretaker. And Midoriya, yeah. He's just trying to figure out what happens. Why would a villain attack? Why would, well, you want to kill his dad? Something was supposed to be subtle. And after talking with this to Alfred does listen to the boy. As Midoriya, he asked him for files. He wanted to look into it. It did not make sense, and he had a gut feeling. Looking into it, they found that Midoriya's car, or the limousine, the brakes were partially severed. And Midoriya does think that at least settles as to why the car may have been weird on the highway, or why it was, well, odd trying to get on it. This was supposed to be an accident, but it wasn't. The guy messed up, so he tried doing something purposely. And then hearing that his parents, yeah, let's just say it was a closed casket funeral. Because, yeah, you had to put them back together. Anyways, now, with that out of the way, Midoriya does try and go to his normal life. Trying to learn from people and instructors, and trying to push himself physically. After a bit of time, he is able to actually get out of this wheelchair and make a public appearance. Whenever he made a public appearance, quite a lot of people were surprised to see the young boy. Hearing that he was the sole survivor from a, well, villain attack on his parents and his family was quite surprising. along with the fact that you're basically watching a 7-year-old walk around with a cane. And he does have a bit of scars on his face. Midoriya having to give a public statement whenever they ask him about it. Alfred trying to say that they are pushing the boy, but Midoriya, he gave a statement, saying that the villain attack on his parents was not an accident, nor was it random. Someone simply tried to, well, take them all out. And they were not successful. Whatever reason the man had to attack his family, he does hope that the police find out why. Midoriya simply just stating that with his parents' money, he is going to be doing one thing. He is going to supply the police force with anything they need. Everything and all of it. He is going to make sure that they are properly armed and set up, along with the Hero Association. He wants to make sure that they have the best supplies. I may be quirkless, but I can still help on the war on crime. And this will be to honor my parents. Now, Midoriya does leave, that being his sole words that he had spoken. Whenever he does actually get back into the car, he does have a bit of trouble, almost falling. However, he was able to keep his footing a bit. And whenever he did sit down in the car, he did begin to talk with Alfred, simply just asking him if there is any way that he can get into contact with a certain teacher. He does want to begin to learn something. Now, Alfred is a bit confused, simply just asking the boy exactly what does he want to learn. Midoriya going on to state that it's a bit odd, but he does want to try something. And if he can talk with a teacher, then he might be able to do it. He wants to know if there's any way to get power. And his dad was working on something. He's heard him at least mention it once before. Now, Midoriya does head home, and go directly towards his father's study, trying to find out what his dad was working on. He does have to break open a drawer because he couldn't find the key, but after he does open it, he does find what his dad was working on. A lot of notes and things he does not understand. His dad was working on a way to artificially implant a quirk into somebody. And Midoriya doesn't understand a lot of it, but from what he sees, his dad did write down certain things. It is definitely possible. And he does believe that he's heard a story about someone doing it before. Except it was not artificial. Hearing about a man who may have been able to give and take quirks, and exactly what this man can do. It is unknown as to whether or not this man is still alive, but he hopes he is. If he can find the man, that means that he can help the symbol of peace, with his condition. And his son will not lose hope. Now, with that being said, that actually does shock Midoriya. His dad was trying to help All Might, and he was killed for it. That means that he was close. Plus, he's talking about artificially putting a quirk into someone's body. That means that it's possible. He might be able to give himself a quirk. Midoriya telling Alfred to simply find anyone he can, the best chemist in the world and, well, scientist. He wants all of them to be at the manor. He wants to meet them, talk with them, and learn from them. Please. Alfred, doing so. Doing as his master commands. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And, well, yeah. The next part of the series might be for a while, I want to say. I'm not too sure. I'll have to get through the other well, I believe 11 on my list. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed.